let's see what we got. Well, this is for chaotic or neutral characters or evil characters. No, lawful or good cannot wear it. So, can't use that. We got natural armor. We'll give her that. So she's got 31 AC. Nice. I'm gonna give this to you since you're kind of like closer to everyone. We have a recipe. We got wand of fireball. So it's got all these wands. Got moderate wounds, lesser wounds, and bane. Give him the acid scroll as well. He's our magic dude, you know. Here, you can have a constitution belt too. You're the only one without a belt, so. A laboratory. Oh, didn't loot some of the bandits. I think it was those first two warriors on the road. We'll happily take their loot. Loot everything you can. Especially if it's magical.
You see that?
A secret door.
The road awaits. Something here.
Alright, can I do it?
Done.
Ho ho, yes.
Completed.
Okay. And then bracers of archery. Okay, it doesn't work on darts. Had to make sure. We will give it to someone who does archery. A book. Another book. A hoarse croak comes from behind the bars. The troll sitting in the cage is so thin you can see his ribs through his skin. Although you see no scars, his pelt is matted with dry blood, and his eyes are dull and unfocused. Various knives, saws, and bloody manacles scattered about leave little doubt what this troll has suffered. The troll croaks with clenched teeth. Kill me. Enough. It hurts. It was simpler than I thought. This is just a simple spell of fire protection. Any competent wizard could cast it. The unusual element was the way the spell was applied. This wasn't cast by any human hand, though. Oh no, the brand was stamped on with some artifact, which would make it possible to make trolls fire resistant in massive numbers. This is grave news for us all. My fire traps are useless now, and making acid traps will take time and the resources. More importantly, for trolls to organize in such a way, there must be some greater intelligence operating behind the scenes. And if that's the case, the list of potential targets for a force that formidable is a short one. I promise you a reward, so please accept these acid wands. I'm afraid you may need them soon. First, explain to me why this troll is in your cage. Oh yes, this is the greatest project of my career. I'm exploring the regenerative abilities of trolls in the hopes of passing them on to humans. Can you imagine the possibilities? Pain, senility, mutilations, even death itself. Defeated. Oh, you weren't concerned I acquired the troll illicitly, were you? Don't worry, I purchased it legally. I'm not some poacher out roaming the Baron's woods. I sometimes have trouble accepting laws that would protect lowlifes like him, but he is within his rights, unfortunately. This is a disgusting practice, but it doesn't violate any laws. I can't forbid you to continue your experiments. Unfortunately, those who prefer law over anarchy must sometimes put up with such dilemmas. It is a difficult path, but the only right one, especially in the stolen lands. I'm pleased our minor ideological differences are respected. We might prove extremely useful to each other. Great. What to sell things again? Don't need these books. Thank you. Alright, so we did that. The brands make them fireproof. Oh. You can just use the arrow instead. The wand has 12 charges. Oh boy. Oh boy.
My instincts
I'm
dull
hungry.
when I'm
When will
tired.
Stop.
Is there a lift over here? Ah, money. Can't believe we almost missed it. All right. We need to camp. We'll do gout or go. We can extend the time we can go without a rest for 4 hours, which is awesome.
Amiri,
Why do we keep
why
failing
don't
our
you wear
hunting?
serious armor? Your
Oh, we
entire
did
body
succeed.
is covered in
It
scars.
just took so long.
So what? I'm a barbarian, not some princess. It's like that with us. The more scars, the better.
All right. We're all good to go
The
here.
path is clear.
Everything has a price.
Let's go this way. Kobold camp. In this thick forested area on the map, it takes way longer to travel, which is annoying. You see a gang of kobolds resting around a campfire. When they finally notice you, they jump and start the scuttling sound, making a mess and bumping into each other, all the while muttering something in the hissing language. One kobold emerges the swarming crowd. His scales are a touch lighter than those of his companions. Upon closer inspection, he seems to be extremely old. His skin is dry and lifeless, and he clearly lost some of his scales long ago. There's something curious about this kobold. He seems to be calm, confident, and wise? Greetings, he says, addressing you and sticking out his hand. Yes, greetings to you as well. The old kobold continues to extend his hand as he stares at you. So, do you need something? Kobolds, humans, love. Tartu, what a familiar name. Tell me, do you know the story of the Suit-Scale Kobold tribe? Suit-Scale bad, not friend. Alright, let's get this sorted out. Over several minutes, you manage to piece together that these kobolds are looking for their king, Tartu, who's lost somewhere. After several minutes beyond that, you deduce that this Tartuk somehow managed to befriend some trolls. Why are you looking for Tartuk? King, Tartuk, trolls, kobold, love. I'm not chaotic evil. I wish there was like a lawful killing them option. I'm no friend to trolls. I kill them, and anyone who helps them. You should return from where you came from for your own sake. I don't know where the Troll Slayer is or where Tartuk is hiding. I'd recommend you give up the search, but that's for you to decide. You can't tell if this old kobold is upset by your statement. After your answer, he turns away from you as if you cease to exist. The kobolds quickly gather and leave into the woods. So now we know officially that Tartuk is working with the trolls.
I'll go ahead.
We could have guessed that earlier, to be honest, but now we know officially that that is the case. Okay. The hills seemed pleasant, even welcoming. No gray doom and gloom, just walking along the path and enjoying the view of all the cute little white pyramids built out of pebblestone. Or wait, was it pebblestone? Horrors of horrors, what I mistook for pebbles were polished bones. All along the path, the grass was riddled with pyramids made out of polished kobold remains. It got us thinking, is it wise to follow such a grim path, the way marked by death itself? Defying all danger, we walked the path. Ooh, nature check. Trying to brush away thoughts on who may have polished the kobold vertebrae and why, we quickly moved along the path leading through the pale hills. It didn't take us long for us to reach the mountain river with a bridge crossing over it. Well, bridge may be a bit generous. It was actually just a long branch about as thick as an arm, spanning from one bank to the other. It may have been enough for a kobold to cross, since we could see another of those small bone pyramids on the far side, but it didn't look nearly strong enough for the party to cross. We were ready to rope. Foresight had always been among our esteemed Baron's strongest virtues. With the practiced motions of a seasoned adventurer, he pulled a length of rope out of his pack and prepared it to be tied around the waist of whoever would prove brave enough to step on the branch and attempt to cross the river. that would at least help reduce the risk of drowning. We carefully examined the river. We quickly discovered that the river was quite deep. I plunged my arm shoulder deep into the water and couldn't even feel the bed. It was so fast too. The current pulled a dry leaf off my sleeve and it was gone from my sight in a blink. And it was cold, very, very cold. Frankly, none of us were interested in taking a swim. We talked it over and chose a volunteer to try and cross the river. Now, I think mobility is the most important thing here, so Briar was unperturbed by the thin branch of the speeding current. After a deep breath, our volunteers set forth along the precarious crossing. One step, then another, a few feet crossed with no trouble, and I started to think that maybe things would be fine. That's when the branch jerked and started to shake. It was rolling over. With no time to think, all Briar could do was jump to the other side. Oh, the lengths we'll go to in our efforts to keep our pride untarnished and our pants dry. One incredible jump and Briar was on the other bank. Briar took a moment to catch a breath and turned attention back to the crossing. As soon as the rope was securely fixed on both banks, the branch didn't seem as much of a death trap as it had before. Okay. One small pyramid made of polished kobold bones may be a bit spooky, but it's not unbearable. But how about thousands? We found ourselves looking over a proper kobold graveyard, each little pyramid a mark of a kobold death, and that mark made out of their own remains. Yeesh. The real enigma, though, waited in the heart of the burial ground. The centerpiece was made of hundreds, maybe even thousands of polished bones, all put together to form the head of an enormous dragon. Imagine it. These small, nonsensical reptiles somehow managed to create a sculpture both fearsome and magnificent. Such might and yet such frailty as well. If a single bone were to be removed from the foundation, this beautiful statue would crumble to dust, and I even spotted one such flimsy bone. Regardless, we'd come face to face with irrefutable proof the kobolds, for better or worse, were changing. This news had no impact on our search for the trolls, though. The land was clearly sacred to the kobolds, and it seemed unlikely they would bring their new friends here. But how would the Baron deal with the structure found in his realm? The Baron left, leaving the kobold shrine untouched. Without a word, the Baron turned and followed the same trail of dead that had led us to the heart of the Pale Hills. Let time, the elements, and the gods decide what to do about the kobolds, their strange religion, and their nascent artistic ability. His Grace would just watch from a distance. We didn't waste any time with the dragon head. On our way back, our luck finally turned. A family of wild boars had decided to take a rest night right in the middle of what they must have thought was a long abandoned path. One lucky shot and a plump piglet made its way to our backpacks, soon to be a hearty meal. Oh. We got meat. Cool. Now, the troll clearing is Ekin's other area that he mentioned.
My instincts dull when I'm tired.
Let's see if we can get over there. The small glade showed signs of brutal troll feasts. It was littered with gnawed bones, the ground was furrowed with marks from huge feet, and the trees held gouges from sharp claws, and the branches had been adorned with the skulls of humans and animals, both old and new. Unfortunately, the trolls' tracks vanished outside the glade, but we could tell that the trolls used this place often. We waited, having prepared an ambush. The The trolls were really taking their time. The sun rose higher and higher, but we heard nothing from the woods but birdsong and the buzzing of insects. The fruitless waiting began to tire us out. Amiri killed time by sharpening an already razor-sharp blade. As the sun set, the glade was still empty. Darkness spread across the scraps of Troll's feast, and the grass began to fill with the dim lights of fireflies. Ambushes take time. Alright. Continue waiting, and boom, we caught a deer. We got some rations. Okay. We still have enough to make a bit of go.
My elbow hurts.
It's because you're so hard on yourself. Try to rest sometimes. You don't have to practice every spare minute.
Alright. We saw something that probably no one else had ever seen before. Beside the blazing campfire stood a kobold who had wrapped himself in a worn-out elven robe. On the far side of the clearing, 3 enormous trolls shuffled their feet, hesitating. The kobold stretched out his calloused paws and with immense gravity hissed and mumbled incomprehensibly. We could barely even guess at what all of this meant. We carefully snuck closer. Hiding behind the elm trees, we crept close enough to hear the mysterious kobold's mumbling. We tried translating? No, we tried to make sense of what's happening by interpreting gestures and body language. It seemed like the kobold was shaming the trolls for cowardice, hissing and grumbling. We repeated Halgruka several times, causing the trolls to tuck their heads and slouch a little deeper each time. It must have been the name of a very important troll, a chieftain, a pack leader, someone they regarded as an authority. Whatever the case, the kobolds words hit their target. One of the trolls, the tallest and mightiest one, stood straight and stepped forward. The kobold stretched his arms towards the troll, his sleeves still on fire. Flames, flames, flames! The kobold hissed menacingly in common. Flames, flames, flames! The troll replied in their own tongue. The brave troll stepped closer on the campfire. We couldn't imagine a more opportune to strike. We took the chance and pushed the brave troll into the fire. Bam! The huge troll fell right into the flames, jumping out immediately and running out of the glade with screams of pain and terror. The two who remained just blinked and looked around, confused. The kobold, however, was ready for battle. Calm and collected, he was already hissing the magical words of incomprehensible spells, preparing to bring their power to bear against us.